Time, rebuilding, and wisdom, from top to bottom and everything in between. Let's drop some gems with Charlene. ¿Hablas español? Echa un vistazo a nuestros episodios del The Keyhole podcast en YouTube y Patreon para ver nuestros subtítulos permanentes en español.
And she died 2 years ago at 91. That was my sister. My parents died 30 years ago. You don't remember that I told you how old I was?
Yeah, 85.
2.
82.
Please don't make it worse than it is.
No,
but she, so she's the only one that we've lost. But my other sister is a little older than me, but only by a few years. And then my brother, he's the oldest.
Yeah.
He's 15 years older than me. So he's going to be 97 August 12th. And I'll show you pictures of him.
Gap.
He is unbelievable. What?
Your parents had a big gap.
Oh, they did.
Kids.
A big gap between, well, it wasn't, he's 15 years older than me, but he's 10 years older than, there was 10 years between, no, there was 8 years between Yvonne and my sister Mariana. So my brother and Yvonne came close together, then a big gap until Mariana and then me.
Wow. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Right.
So
did your parents, I'm guessing they had their first child young. Had to.
No. Considering their the year they got married, 1927, and you know how things were then. People got married at 18, 20.
19, yep.
My mother didn't get married till she was 24.
Oh, so she waited.
So she waited. So she had a baby at 26. So my father was about a year younger than her. But so they didn't get married at 18, 19.
Yeah.
Which was, and then of course, because there was a big gap, and I'm the youngest, you know, they lived long enough that I was 51 when they died.
Wow.
So that was good. At least I had them that long.
Yes,
so.
Absolutely. Okay. So I feel like we're good. We're rolling now. Everything is straight.
Good.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Keyhole. Thank you so much for joining me. I am here with a very special guest, a very lovely Miss Charlene. We have a little bit of an interesting backstory. Backstory is I met Miss Charlene giving her an Uber ride from not LAX. Oh my gosh, my mind is still in LA sometimes.
I know.
From BWI.
Correct.
Picked her up from BWI, and we had the chat of a lifetime, talking about everything, talking about you being a professional woman, having a job through the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, all the way up until a few years ago.
Yes. 3 years ago.
Right.
Yeah.
3 years ago. And I just felt like that conversation was so interesting. And it was something that other young people my age, really need to hear and consider. That, you know, especially now we're in that space of the job market constantly changing.
Oh, right.
Everyone is saying, I can't find a job. And you made it this far and this long. Okay.
Yes, I did.
So clearly you're doing something right. But before we get into all of those things, I always ask my guests, what is your origin story? Where are you from? Where did you come from? How did you come to this point in your life? How did all of these things get here? Yes, happen.
Well, I love my origin story because I think it really is who I am. Yeah. I was born in the 40s, and so it was sort of just after the Depression, and I'm the youngest of 4, and I was born to an immigrant culture, an immigrant family. My mother was born in Lebanon in the Middle East, but she came here when she was a baby. So she really was Americanized completely. My father was born in Philadelphia, but both his parents and my mother's parents came from the same town in Lebanon. It was almost like a mixed marriage if you didn't come from the same town,
right,
let alone from the same country.
Yes.
So it was a very strong culture, and I loved it. I lived in I was born in Buffalo,
Yeah.
raised there, and everybody lived in the what we call the old neighborhood, which was around the Maronite Catholic Church, which is uh, a rite of the Catholic Church that says the Mass in Arabic and Aramaic. Yeah,
Oh.
it's under the Pope.
Oh.
It's same as any other Catholic, except
Yeah.
that our liturgy is in Arabic and Aramaic, and it's quite different. It's a
Yeah.
whole. It's what the original Middle Easterners who were converted by the apostles,
Yeah.
and then they kept their faith when the country turned to
Yes.
Muslim.
Yes.
So it's a very strong culture, and
Wow.
all of those Lebanese people came to Buffalo and lived around the church. So that's where I was born, and I didn't grow up in that neighborhood because I was 4 years old when we moved out to the suburbs. My father was um, very ambitious about picking a house and not living in an apartment
Right.
anymore, and all of that. So we did that, and I went to Catholic schools
Yeah.
in and high school and college, single sex, very strict convent school in high school. I have a friend here in Annapolis
Yeah.
who is um, my high school friend. I went to high school with her in Buffalo,
Oh.
and we tell stories about that school. And she says her daughters don't even believe the
Yeah.
stories because they can't believe how different it was in the 50s, but that
Yes.
was the 50s. So anyway,
Yes.
went to college there, and then I had a very strong religious background and a very strong family background.
Yeah.
And that's been me for the rest of my life. I mean,
Yeah.
I think if I didn't have those two things, I don't know who I'd be.
Mm,
So
absolutely. How um you graduated high school in the 50s and transitioned into the workforce in the early 60s? Or was
I
it
transitioned into the workforce in the late
in the
60s.
late
Yeah, I
60s?
graduated in 1965
Okay,
from
yeah.
from college.
Ah,
Yeah, I was
understood.
61 in high school. It's when I graduated,
Yeah.
and then 65 in college,
Wow.
1965. So that was literally when everything exploded.
Yeah.
Um, I was raised in the 50s
Yeah.
to be a 50s woman,
Yes.
and I graduated into the civil rights
Mhm.
revolution,
Mhm.
the women's revolution,
Yeah.
and what was else was going on then? Oh, the Vietnam War.
Yes.
So there you have it.
Yes.
It was like, what happened?
Right.
Where's that world that I was supposed to be in
Right.
and who I was supposed to be?
Yeah.
But my father, interestingly, raised all of us, but I can only speak for myself, raised me to be whoever I was
Yeah.
and to be a leader no matter where I was. In other words, he raised me to be married and have 10 children
Yeah.
because that was
The
the
norm.
religious way and the
Yes.
norm,
Yes.
and also to be president of the United States. I mean, he
Right.
thought I could be either. It was a little bit of a pressuresome from my point of view. He's like,
Yeah.
I don't think I can do both, but so, but it put in me a vision for my life
Yeah.
that was wide open. So thank the Lord for
Mm,
that,
right.
because if not, I would have been overwhelmed and terrified, which I'm
Right.
sure a lot of women and people were.
Yeah. When you were coming into all of these things colliding and you're fresh out of college, where did you see things going
Well,
from that point?
well, that's what's interesting. I had no real plan. I knew, well, yes, I did.
Yeah.
Actually, I was supposed to stay in Buffalo and get a
Mm,
job teaching English, which is what my college degree was in,
right.
teaching English at the local high school or in the
Mm,
school in Buffalo. And so that's what the vision was
yeah.
until I heard a talk at my college
Yeah.
one day about a program called Extension Lay Volunteers.
Mm,
Now, mind you, this was at the time of Peace Corps and VISTA, which was the a lot of current people don't know about Vista. Vista was the sort of domestic Peace Corps started by Lyndon Johnson, and you got sent to very, very poor areas in the South or West or anywhere in the country to teach in schools or work in hospitals, things like that. So people were doing that, but there was a Catholic version called Extension Lay Volunteers, and they sent you to similar places. Well, I was inspired by that. I think I was a little afraid to go in the Peace Corps and go far away to another country, but this sounded a little tamer and a little like something I could do.
Right.
So I decided that's what I was going to do. And I had been the president of my student government in college. And of course, I worked like a slave at that. I mean, I didn't have much fun senior year in college because all I was doing was running things. And I really, and that, so by the time I got to middle of the year, I knew I had to get away and just get away and breathe and do something so different. So I don't know what it was about this, but I just thought, I'm going to do that, period. I didn't have much time to think about it. I don't know. I just decided. And I didn't even talk about it with anybody in the family until January. I had to tell my parents because I had to apply and they were going to tell me where I was going to be sent. So I sat my parents down one night and I said I needed to speak with them. And I think they were so terrified that they didn't know what I was going to say, that by the time I said I was going to join this thing, I think my father was very relieved. I think he thought the news was going to be a little worse, but he was not happy because, because, he was of the immigrant mentality that you had to take advantage now of every opportunity. And I was going to be working for nothing for a year. He thought I was brainwashed by the nuns, and he thought he just thought it was foolish for me to go and volunteer for a year to work. And then what? He just didn't see this as being a good step in my career. But in our family, he was very paternalistic, Middle Eastern man. I mean, that's the way the culture is. The men run things. So he finally said, well, of course, he would let me go as long as I only stayed for a year. I said, I don't want to go longer than that. I want to come back and get the job at Williamsville High School and all of that. Well, he said he would let me go, but he knew I was going to go no matter what. So, but I had to pretend that he was letting me go. And I wouldn't have gone if he didn't let me. But so he raised us strictly, but also with a lot of autonomy. It's an interesting mix. I don't know how they got to be the way they were, but thank God they were the way they were. My mother just was afraid I wasn't going to know how to cook and eat and feed myself, because I never lived away from home. So I was sent to Mississippi in 1965.
How was that culture shock? And you're sent to Mississippi in the height.
In the height, it was 1 year after the 3 civil rights workers were killed in Mississippi. It was in the very height of the voter registration drives that all the college students were going down to do. And my father was very smart in one respect. He once I got sent to Mississippi, which he did not like, of course, but he said, find out what it's like find out what it's about when you go to the training, and then we'll see if he's going to let me go there. And I was a little nervous about it, but I found out that I liked the people that I would be working with, that it was actually not in the middle of the civil rights turmoil, because it was a very poor white area. It had integrated the Catholic school with a Head Start program that summer. Very first year of Head Start. So that's how way back it was. And we had the first program at our school that summer, and then they were going to retain that program at the school. So there would be black and white children at the school, because there were no black Catholics in our area. There were hardly any
No,
blacks
yeah.
living in our area.
Yeah.
I don't know why. It was right near the Gulf Coast of Mississippi.
Uh-huh.
But there were a few families, and they had sent their children to the Head Start program. So
Yeah.
they were in our school. And so our school was suddenly integrated only at the Head Start level, and nothing was said about it. It was like the priest said, some people objected, not too many, but there were some hardcore people in our parish. And the priest said, this is the wishes of our bishop, and this is what we're going to do. And that was the end of that.
Okay.
And so I never really experienced anything terrible there, except the very last day. They were having a going away party for us, and they took us out some of the families took us out on a boat on the Jordan River, of all places. It's called the Jordan River. And a black family tried to put their boat out at the same place. And the people we were with objected to it. And I didn't know that was the only instance I saw of conflict and where anybody I knew was involved.
Wow.
But thank the Lord, and the other thing we did, which was extraordinary, I thought, during the year, we decided our kids really didn't know how to speak well because they were country kids, and so the highest ambition they had was to be on the high school basketball team. So we wanted to make something that won prizes and that was competitive be about intellectual stuff. So we started a little speaking competition called the Forensic League, and we invited every school in the area. I think we invited about 10 or 12 schools, the black Catholic schools and the white Catholic schools, the black public schools and the white public schools, and one private school that was in the nearby town of Bay St. Louis. And we didn't know how people would react to that. I mean, everything was segregated. So, but we said, if they know, they don't have to join. It's that simple. So the local newspaper got wind of it, wrote an editorial against us and our new little activity. And I can't even remember the reasons they gave to object to it, but it was obviously not the real reason. And so I got all huffy and wrote a letter, self-righteous letter about, it's the right thing to do and blah, blah, blah. My principal, on the other hand, who was a religious nun and a very savvy she came from a very savvy political family in Long Island. She called up the editor of the newspaper and invited him to be chairman of the judges of this little competition for school children. He accepted, and from that time on, we had front page coverage in the local newspaper. That's how it happened. And so every experience I had down there was positive because I was doing it within the context of this very well-established Catholic church, even though it was for very, very poor people who were living out in little tin roofed shacks, basically. I mean, my kids came to school clean and in their uniforms, and then I'd go to their home and find out they didn't have indoor plumbing. And it was shocking to me because they managed so well. But anyway, it was a wonderful experience because we had the first integrated extracurricular activity on the whole Gulf Coast of the South. And it lasted for about 20 years. I understood that it ended, I don't know, sometime in the maybe the 80s. And but it went on and it expanded. It went all the way almost to New Orleans. It was a wonderful success, and little black children were competing against little white children, and we were trying to be. They're worried that the black kid's going to be better than them. And that was a whole new concept for those children. So I was very proud of that, but we didn't do it for that reason. We didn't do it to integrate an activity. We did it because our kids didn't know how to talk. And we wanted them to aspire to something better. So it was a great experience. That was my first career move. going to
Mm.
Mississippi. And it wasn't, I didn't know it was going to turn out so well.
Yeah.
I just did it because I knew that I needed to get away and find a little of the me again
Yes.
before I started out doing whatever my job was going to be.
Yeah.
I still thought it was going to be teaching. But after that wonderful year of teaching, I
Yeah.
realized that I was not going to make it in a large public school system.
Right. How did you
So,
segue? How did you move out of
well,
and into?
I really don't know how I know I just it just came into my mind. I had to decide what I was going to do,
Yeah.
and I thought, well, I had already gotten no, I hadn't. I had just gone right after college. I know. I went right to graduate school after that.
Oh,
I was
okay.
going to try to join the recruitment team for the organization that sent me to Mississippi. They invited me to
Mm.
join it, and I would be traveling around the country telling people what a great thing this was to do.
Yeah.
But an old college professor of mine, a Hungarian priest
Oh.
who was very direct and very emphatic about what he thought I ought to do, told me at Christmas vacation, if you do that, you'll never go to grad school. You'll never do anything else. You better just decide right now what you're going
Oh.
to do. Don't waste a year when you're not moving toward a goal. So he pulled out. He was a college advisor to very, very smart kids at their private school they ran,
Yeah.
and so he pulled out all his books. We picked 3 universities, and I ended up at the University of North Carolina in Chapel Hill for journalism school because I always wanted to write.
Yeah.
I always wanted to write. Didn't know if I wanted to be a reporter, but I knew I wanted to write. So that's what I did, and went to graduate school the next year for
Yeah.
2 years. Didn't
Understood.
know what I was going to do after that, but I
Right.
knew I would be very well equipped to
To do
get a job
yes.
doing something I might like to do.
Yes. When you chose journalism and you chose writing, because I'm thinking about the context now, and now we have um, a big art wave coming in and things like that. Was art ever a consideration of yours at that time? No.
No, the schools I went to
Yeah.
were, very academically good,
Yeah.
but limited. We didn't. I mean, the art classes were only for the art majors.
Yeah.
Um, the college I went to was really so small and young. It had only been in existence about 20 years. I mean, it was a
Oh, yeah.
small Catholic women's college. So,
Yes.
no, I never took an art course, though I love art, as you can see.
Yes.
I,
Yes.
I, I, I wish I had learned something about it. I wish I had gotten that taste for it back then, but I
Right.
didn't. Um, I had a very good classic education,
Yeah. Yeah.
the 3 R's,
Yes.
and fortunately, I mean, I didn't know a lot about writing until I got to grad school.
Really?
That's why I wanted to go to grad school. Oh, of course, I wrote in college, I wrote
Yeah.
papers and stuff, and I thought I was a good writer.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I knew that I needed to hone that talent. I always had a talent for it. I remember when I was in the fourth grade, I had to write a story for religion class, and I think I picked the story of the Good Samaritan, and I had to write it in my own words. And I remember sitting at that old typewriter,
Mm-hmm.
clack, 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 and on the card table in my living room, which is where I did my homework.
Yeah.
And I I remember thinking, this is fun, trying to figure out how I'm going to say this just the right way and
Right.
what pick this word and that. I just was always interested in words,
Yeah.
and so that's where I got it in my head that
Yeah.
I wanted to write. But I didn't know. I knew one person, my older sister's Yvonne's girlfriend, worked for the local paper, but she worked on the woman's page
Oh.
because you couldn't work on anything else back then.
Hmm.
I mean, see, this is what young people like you don't realize.
No.
You hear the stories, but you don't realize that people that you know
Yes.
lived through this.
Yes.
I mean, there was no women in working on television then in the news. Oh, not at
Really?
all. Of course
Not
not.
even newscasts, not
Nothing.
nothing.
Nothing. So I thought, well, if I want to write, I could get a job like Joyce, this friend of my sister's, and work on the women's page of the local
Mm.
newspaper. So, I thought, well, I'll learn how to write. I'll figure out something. I mean, maybe I'll do that. Maybe, I don't know. I didn't really focus so much on the job I was going to do. What
Right.
did I know about jobs? I didn't know what was out there.
Mm.
Back then, as a woman, you were going to be a teacher, a nurse,
Or a
or a
secretary.
social worker.
Yeah, social worker.
And that was, or a secretary, but I
Yeah.
knew I wasn't going to do that. So that was the end of the game. You
Yeah.
just didn't, in one respect, you had so few choices. It
Yeah.
was easy.
Yeah. Understood.
I could never be a nurse because I'm not good at science and I'm
Right.
not interested in it.
Right.
And social work didn't interest me.
Yeah.
So I was going to be a teacher because I could teach the thing I liked, which was
Yeah.
English. That's it. It was very simple.
Yeah.
But it's not that you were going to have a fun job, and you certainly didn't know that there was this big world out there.
Right.
I had no idea there was a thing called marketing communications,
Yes.
which I ended up doing in New York City for the
Yes.
rest of my career. So it was it was so weird to grow up in that one world
Yeah.
and then have to make your way in a new world.
Yes.
In my college, I would have to say that there was a big emphasis on being a professional woman. It was a women's
Mm.
college. It was run by a Franciscan order of sisters, and
Mm.
I remember Sister Pauline. I think Sister Pauline or Paulette. She was the dean of students, but she also taught me a couple of English courses.
Yeah.
And she would always speak about the professional woman. And I think she was sort of ahead of her time,
Yeah.
trying to prepare us for that world that
Yes.
was coming.
Yes.
But that was about the extent of it.
Yeah.
The one good thing about being in an all women's schools, both high school and college, socially it wasn't great. You had to catch up a lot socially.
Yes.
After that.
Yes.
But professionally, it was excellent because I was never intimidated in a room full of men.
Yeah.
We were the leaders in everything that happened in the schools, and my father also had raised me that way, so that people, when I go to women's organizations or meetings, I really don't like to, because I
Mm.
don't like all that talk about we've got to empower ourselves.
Right.
I didn't know what they were talking about.
Yeah.
I already felt empowered. I
Mm.
never felt like I couldn't go into a room full of men and speak my mind.
Yeah.
So, in a funny sort of way, even though I had a very old-fashioned education
Yeah.
and very, very, I was very, very sheltered in my immigrant Catholic education,
Yeah.
I still was able to function in the world pretty effectively.
Absolutely. I agree. I went to all girls high school, all girls Catholic
You
high
were
school.
what?
I went to all girls Catholic high
Oh,
school.
you did?
I did.
Where? What? Which one was it?
It's Seton Keo. It's
Okay.
closed down, but it's in
Mine is
Baltimore.
closed now
It's
too.
closed. Most of them are closed.
I know, it's sad.
Most of them are closed.
Yeah.
I don't know.
There are very few that are
Very few.
surviving. Yeah.
Very few. But I would completely agree when you say that. Did socially it hinder you in some ways? Yes. But professionally, it was fantastic.
Yes,
I
it
grew up
was.
with no real concept of you can't do this because a man is going to do that.
Right,
It didn't
exactly.
exist.
It didn't
It
exist
didn't
because we
exist.
did everything.
Yeah.
There was nobody, there were no men
everything.
to sort of lord it over us.
Yes.
So you didn't even know that existed.
Yes.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And of course,
Agreed.
my father would always, the grandchildren used to say about my father, he'd ask them how they were doing in their jobs and what they were making. And if they weren't being paid well enough, you go in there and you tell your boss,
Right.
because it's that old immigrant
Yes.
mentality that we're the underdogs.
Yes.
And I'm sure you understand
Oh, yeah.
that from a racial point of view.
Oh yeah.
But I grew up with that.
Yes.
You got to fight for what you want.
Yes.
You've got to work hard, and then you've got to make sure you're getting what you deserve.
Yes, absolutely.
And so, in a strange sort of way, even though people might read my resume and think, "Oh my God, that woman is sheltered. What does she know when she
Right.
came out of 8 years of Catholic education in a
Right.
girls' school?"
Yeah.
Well, whatever I knew,
Was enough.
it was plenty. It was
Yes.
better than a lot of people that were in schools with boys who took all the leadership roles.
Right. Interested in our full-length episodes? Head over to Patreon and support us directly at the Keyhole Podcast. Don't forget to follow us on socials at keyhole.thepod. And if you're feeling real sweet, you can follow me at simply.zakia. Síguenos en las redes sociales @keyhole.thepod y sígame si te sientes dulce @simply.zakia. No juegues conmigo. Te amo. Hasta pronto. Thank you so much for tuning into this episode of the Keyhole Podcast with me, Zakia, and my very special guest of the day, Miss Charlene. Now, you guys know Miss Charlene is a more mature lady, okay? So we don't have any social media for her, but that's okay. Because she's what? Resting, relaxing, rejuvenating, okay? If you want to get in contact with Miss Charlene, let me know, holla at me. I'll see what I can do for you, okay? And my question of the day for this episode, or really my request for the day for this episode is, I would love it if you guys would shout out your favorite elder, okay? Whether it be a mentor, whether it be a parent, whether it be extended family, whoever. I would love it if you guys would shout out your favorite elder, okay? Shout out to Bill Nye, okay? Shout out to Bob Ross, okay? Who else are we shouting out? We're going to shout out Denzel Washington, okay? Who else are we going to shout out? We're going to shout out Miss Angela Bassett, okay? So many people that we can shout out when it comes to our beautiful elders that are helping pave the way for us, okay? On that note, thank you so much for tuning in to this episode. Gracias por estar aquí. Did I sound a little more Spanish? Y'all let me know in the comments, okay? Talk to you soon and hear from you soon. Bye.